Most men try to quit porn by sheer willpower and fail. What if I told you that quitting pornography was not so much about focusing on pornography, but creating a better life? That's what I want to talk with you today. We're going to be talking about how to create healthy rhythms in your life. So ultimately, then porn seems like a chore because the life that you created is so much better. If you're stuck in this cycle of shame and relapse, it's not your fault. Helping over a couple hundred guys, I've noticed the one and the same thing is that most men don't have the right tools to quit. So use this tool to create an awesome life for yourself. So we want to create healthy rhythms in our life through daily structure. All right, running you instead of you running your life. This is how I felt for many years. Full-time ministry, full-time job, married, having one kid, two kids, three kids, and then four kids. And you have all this weight on your shoulders and you just feel like life is running you. And what ends up happening in that case is you are going to go and try to find some kind of outlet for all the stress and overwhelm you're experiencing. And oftentimes it's in alcohol, it's in pornography, it's in escapism through YouTube or other things. So the goal here today is to help you understand the rhythms from a biblical, neurological, practical standpoint, identify unhealthy patterns, which I guarantee you have, that lead to burnout, and learn how to establish sustainable rhythms. How are we going to do that? And then also develop a personalized plan, because it's not about just listening to somebody on YouTube teaching you how to do this. I want you to actually start implementing this today. What are some of the biggest problems? The biggest problem is this. Number one, you're overcommitting and spreading yourself too thin. You're always trying to say yes, and this probably comes from my identity issue of trying to please people, try to be approved by other people, find approval. You're living without intentional structure or routine. You're just going with the flow. It happens, but I'm not planning my day, my week, or time off. And then also neglecting rest and renewal. Every time I teach on this in my coaching, it's like guys as if forget that God worked 6 days and then rested on the seventh, or they forget that, you know what, the best work is actually to rest so you can recharge and then accomplish the things you want to do in your life. All right. The very first thing we need to start is with a biblical perspective. So we see in creation, we see a rhythm. Genesis 1 and 2, what do we read? We read that God worked 6 days and then rested on the seventh. By the seventh day, God finished the work. So on the seventh day, he rested from all his work. So look, if God modeled the importance of rest, don't you think it is important for us to also rest? God rested after creation, and so we too need to imitate that. We're reflected, we are created in his image. Second thing is the Sabbath rest. Exodus 20. God gave the people of Israel a command to take 1 day of the week off. Remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy. All right. So why is this important? Because God commands a rhythm of work and rest for his people. This is something that we forget, especially living in the United States where everything is go and we hustle, that rest is actually vital. Third thing is Ecclesiastes 3. There's seasons and cycles to life. We read that there's a time for everything, a season for every activity under the heaven. So if you want to experience the wonderful seasons, just as we have the tough seasons and busy seasons, there should also be seasons of rest, growth, and reflection. And lastly, Jesus' rhythm. Look at Mark 1. Jesus is a great example. Very early in the morning, while it was still dark, it's like one of my very interesting favorite passages in Mark. In verse 35, he goes to a solitary place where he prays. He goes to fill his own bucket so he can go do ministry and help others. Now, an easy illustration for this is this guitar here. Our life is like a well-tuned instrument. So just like you need to tune a guitar, which a lot of guys play, and I play guitar, when it's untuned, it's hard to play. So you need to tune all these aspects of your life. We would call these things the 4 F's of life, which is faith, family, fitness, and finances. We want to have all of these things in order in our life. Otherwise, if any one of these are out of tune, then we cannot have a good sound and good rhythm. Next, I want to focus on What's going on inside of your mind, right? Your neurological perspective, right? With the neurons in your brain, everything. Like you have circadian rhythms. What are circadian rhythms? Well, it's this idea that you wake up and go to sleep at the same time. You go to bed, when the sun rises, you get up. It's a circadian rhythm. It's created in our body. People outside prior to that used to go to sleep when the sun went down, wake up with the sun. It's a circadian rhythm. A lot of men have a bad rhythm in their life and they're groggy and tired and with lust because they just neglect sleep and circadian rhythms. Second thing is this dopamine reward system. It is so important that you have healthy rhythms to regulate dopamine. Dopamine is your feel-good neurotransmitter. When your life is just like constant ups and downs, there's no rhythm to it, it's super chaotic, guess what? You don't feel good. And then you want to go to a place where you will feel good, which is often vices. That's why men fall into it, because they don't have the dopamine that they need to feel good about their life. So the dopamine levels become dysregulated. Third thing is habit formation and neuroplasticity. The brain thrives on outlines. So the more structure we have, right, the more that we can, in our mind, build these neural pathways, right? So currently in your mind, you have these neural pathways, which is like well-traveled roads. And these well-traveled roads is, well, if I'm stressed out, I'm going to go to porn, right? Or if I am overwhelmed, I'm going to go to porn. Or if I feel lonely, I'm going to go to porn. How do we get rid of loneliness, overwhelm, and stress in our life so we're not going to porn? The way that we do it is we rewire our brain's neural pathways to find joy and happiness and a wonderful life by creating great rhythms in our life. So you're probably thinking, Dennis, this is all great and wonderful. How do I begin? The way to begin anything is always to identify the problem, to uncover it. If you don't know what the problem is, you can't fix the problem. First question is, what unhealthy patterns do you have in your life? Are you overcommitted in ministry? Found myself there for years, always picking up on other things because I could do things really well and quickly. Are you burnt out because you're caring too much? Maybe it is emotional stress from your family and disconnection from your wife. Maybe it's your parenting and it's too much. You have all these buckets and areas of responsibility, your work, your family, right? Your faith. And so you're feeling burnt out. Maybe you're also burnt out because you're not filling yourself up from the fountain of life, who is Jesus Christ. You're neglecting spiritual growth. And so you got to ask yourself, what unhealthy patterns do you have? Next, what unhealthy thinking do I have? This one's interesting. I found myself here because I am an achiever. Enneagram 3. I need to keep pushing to prove my worth. My worth is only in my achievements. Or resting is lazy. I have too much to do. I found myself many times, many years here. If I stop, everything will fall apart. You know what God taught me over 5 years of full-time pastoral ministry? Dennis, you could be on your back for a week at a time because of your cold or illness or COVID or whatever. And you know what? The church is going to continue. And that's exactly what happened. Other men stepped up, did ministry, and everything went on. Beliefs drive behaviors. And so what is your belief about rest and about rhythms? If it's wrong, you're never going to implement it in your life and be continually stuck, right, in a cycle. So practically, how are we going to work on this? We're going to work on two things. Number one, creating a morning rhythm and an evening rhythm. Remember this for the rest of your life. If you can conquer your morning, you conquer your day. If you can conquer the first 60 minutes of your day, you will conquer the rest of your day. And also in the evening, if you conquer the last hour of your day, it's going to set you up for success in the morning. Okay? Monday morning starts Sunday night. Tuesday morning starts Monday night. It's all how you end the day. And too often, men bring a lot of stress, overwhelm, discontent to bed at night. They wake up with the same things that they're struggling with. So we need to take out the trash that's happened throughout the day. You need an evening rhythm to help you take out the trash so that the next morning you wake up fresh. What can you do? In the morning rhythm, have some spiritual nourishment, time of prayer, Bible study, meditation. Meditate on the promises of God. Pray to God, do Bible study, read some biblical affirmations, remind yourself who you are in Christ. Second, physical movement, some light exercise, HIIT training, 5 minutes, guys, 5 minutes of high intense interval training, or go take a walk. I did that for about 3 months this year. I took a walk with my wife for about 15 minutes in the morning every single day. And then mindset preparation. You conquer your mind, you conquer everything else. Reviewing your priorities, setting your goals, mentally preparing for the day. Journaling. What am I grateful for today? What am I looking forward to today? Where do I need help in? God help me in this area. And that evening routine, you're going to come home reflecting on the blessings of the day, reading and journaling or spending time with the family. You want to do these restorative activities. Okay, so the reason why, let me explain to you, is in your brain, there is a seesaw. Okay, the seesaw in your brain, there's pain and pleasure. So what happens is that after a long day, you might be experiencing pain. You might be giving yourself so much, giving to others. You experience pain, and your brain wants homeostasis. It wants balance. If you experience a lot of pain, you need to do things that bring pleasure into your life. This is why vices tend to come up, is because you have this urge to find pleasure, but you're not experiencing pleasure because life is tough. This is why we're creating rhythms, and that's why you're listening. So you do restorative activities like things that are going to restore your energy, whatever it is for you. For some guys, it's fishing, it's hunting. But for a daily thing, it may be reading, it may be journaling, spending time with the family, going on an evening walk, going on a bike ride, whatever it is. And then also in the evening, we need to do sleep. Super important, create restful environment, stick to consistent sleep schedule. This is going to be super beneficial. It has helped the couple hundred guys that I have been already working with. It's just amazing. We just dial in their sleep, evening and morning routine, and so much stuff already changes. The urges, they drop. There's a lot of science behind this. So the next thing is these weekly rhythms. Okay, you do a Sabbath day of rest. Commit one day rest a week. It's not about just physical rest, but about spiritual renewal. You got to spend time in worship, fellowship, reflection. Go out and hang out with friends. Invite someone over for dinner. Turn off your phone for 24 hours. Go do something that restores and energizes you. For me, I like getting up early. I like reading a book. I like sitting up on a hill with a view. I like going to the hot tub in the morning. I like taking a bike ride around my neighborhood. I like going to the park with my kids or hiking somewhere or driving to the beach. So all those things, they really restore and energize me. So what is it for you? Think about that. And then you got to do some recreation, right? Which I just discussed. Hobbies, family time, outdoor activities. So Sabbath day rest, it's one day a week, right? For us, it's Friday. And we're talking about from 5 p.m. on Friday all the way to Saturday at 5 p.m. What we're doing is we're just doing things that rest our soul. Okay, guys, I hope all of this has been helpful. I got a few questions for you because I want you to reflect on this. What daily rhythms are currently out of sync in your life? Right? What are things that are like the clog that are keeping the life energy flowing in your life? How can you incorporate a regular Sabbath into your week, a day off, a day of rest? How can you incorporate that? And lastly, what boundaries you need to set up in your work and life? I see a lot of guys are taking their work home. I see a lot of guys getting up early, neglecting spiritual disciplines because of work. Okay, so what boundaries do you need to set in place? What rhythms do you need to take away and add? And how are you incorporating the Sabbath? Last but not least, I want to remind you that healthy rhythms are essential for your long-term well-being, that God created us to work and rest in this balance. So God knew exactly what we needed, and he knew that we needed that pleasure in our life. We needed the enjoyment of our life, the common graces in our life, so that we wouldn't turn to false versions of dopamine, things that would help us to feel good, but ultimately would tear our soul down, like pornography, alcohol, anger, or whatever it is. And so implementing also these daily, weekly, seasonal rhythms will bring peace, productivity, and deeper spiritual growth. And so I really hope that this has encouraged you to assess your life, to think about, man, maybe my life is chaotic. Maybe I do need to start implementing some rhythms to have a healthy life, because I am tired of lust and I'm trying everything. I'm reading, I'm praying, I'm fasting, but it seems like this is not ending. And most often what it really is just not having healthy rhythms where you're actually enjoying your life. And when you don't enjoy your life, that hot dog, although it is sin, looks better than the filet mignon of God's promises that he's offering you. So create a lifestyle where it's as if you're eating filet mignon every day, and that hot dog is not going to be desirable anymore. All right, guys, until next time, hope this helped. If you need more guidance and would like to set up a call with me one-on-one to chat about these things, help you get an unlock, and see if you want to maybe get some more guidance on a weekly basis with some group coaching calls, I'll drop the link down below of my calendar, and you guys can find me there, and would love to really serve you and help you out, because I know that when you become a different man, you are able to lead not only yourself, but your family, and make an impact for generations and for the people in your church.